Chapter 21 Helping you enter the realm of kings, Dust Heart Pavilion in crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Xuanhuan breaking barrier was not created by Emperor Mu of Qing dynasty, it originated from ancient times and is now extinct. In the ancient times, it was not so difficult to break through the king's realm. There are many ancient things that can increase the probability of breaking through the king's realm. A large part of the reason why it is difficult to break through the king realm today is because of the loss of these ancient texts. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. Down in Haiyu City, countless voices of gratitude rang out one after another, including the 5.5 royal families. If it weren't for Changqing today, they would all have died here. The head of the Wang family hesitated for a moment, then took out a golden jade plaque from his arms and handed it to Changqing. It won't take long for the news that he is carrying a treasure to spread throughout the 10,000 demons South China Sea. He will definitely not be able to keep it by then. Instead of doing this, it is better to give the jade plaque to Changqing, and in front of everyone. Only in this way can the Wang family be preserved. Changqing glanced at him and accepted it. Even Changqing couldn't help but be a little moved by the secret treasure of a king. It's just that it's not the time to go there yet. Let's talk about it after I return to my family. Next, Changqing stayed in Haiyu City for a few days and made a breakthrough in seclusion, like water and canals. A few days later, Changqing easily survived the thunder disaster and broke through the second level of the disaster, and less than a month has passed since Changqing broke through the catastrophic situation. This speed of cultivation can no longer be described by the word fast. After breaking through the second level of the tribulation realm, Changqing took the cultivation improving medicine he had refined not long ago, and the spiritual power in his body skyrocketed again. A few days later, Changqing officially left the country. At this time, with the help of the medicine, Changqing's realm has broken through from the first level of the robbery realm before seclusion to the current, third level of the robbery realm. Outside the door, Bai Heng and Qinger have been waiting for a long time. Congratulations on the breakthrough. As soon as Changqing went out, Bai Heng, who was waiting outside, saluted him respectfully. Have you broken through the king realm? And the aura is stable. It has obviously completely consolidated the realm. It seems that the effect of the medicine is good. Changqing saw through Bai Heng's realm at this time at a glance. He was no longer a half-king, but a real one. The first realm of the king realm, the Xian King realm. Everything is given by the Lord. If it were not for the spirit given by the Lord, I am afraid that in this life, it would be difficult for me to reach this level. Bai Heng's voice contained a touch of excitement that could not be concealed. Until now, he still felt a little unreal. King realm. The realm that countless half-step kings dream of. But there are only a few who can successfully advance. Among the half-kings, not even one may be able to advance. Seeing how difficult it is, how many half-kings fall under the thunder tribulation of the king realm? Bai Heng and the black-robed old man had previously risked being wanted by king-level forces and massacred everyone on Haiyu Island for the sake of a glimmer of ability to break through to the king's realm. Who would have thought that with just one spirit, he could break through the Xuanhuan realm, which was almost impossible to advance to the king realm. And there are no side effects. On the other side, Qinger's strength has improved very quickly in the past half-month, and she has reached the 5th level of true spirit. Such a huge improvement was not only due to the medicine given by Changqing, but also the Gu's heart method created by Changqing after integrating it with the first chapter of Taishian Jing. Taishian heart method. The original Gu family's mentality was no more than a low-level king, but now Gu's Taishian heart technique is at the imperial level. This method is much stronger than the mental method that Qinger originally practiced. The Taishian scripture is too heaven-defying to be given to others easily, even members of the clan, but the Gu family's Taishian heart technique has been improved by Changqing. Go to the Gu family on Wangqin Island, send Qinger back, and then return to the Han and Qin Empire. This is Changqing's next plan. On the way to Wangqin Island, when passing by Chenxin Pavilion, I took a look to see if they really took over the deputy pavilion as they said. If not, then the Chenxin Pavilion will be destroyed. One day later, Changqing and 3 others flew away in the air and left Haiyu Island. Target, Wangqin Island, Gu family. The Lanxi Islands are composed of 2 large islands and countless medium-sized islands. Chenxin Island, where Chenxin Pavilion is located, is one of the 2 large islands. Wangqin Island, where the Gu family is located, is one of the countless islands. In the Lanxi Islands, there are 2 major half-king forces, Chenxin Pavilion and Jinxia sect. The 2 major forces have been checking and balancing each other for many years, and wars have occurred from time to time. The grievances between each other have long been irresolvable. Each one wants to destroy the other, and is the only overlord force in the Lanxi Islands. Monopolize all the resources of the archipelago. When Gu Changqing and the others arrived at Lanxi Islands, it was already 3 days later. I originally wanted to sneak into Chenxin Pavilion and secretly see if Chenxin Pavilion got rid of the deputy master of Chenxin Pavilion as I said, but he found that something was wrong in Chenxin Pavilion at this time. The protective formation is on, the disciples can only enter but not exit. Everyone in the sect is in a tense atmosphere. In the main hall of the sect, a group of high-level core members, including the master of Chenxin Pavilion, are all gathered here. Pavilion Master, the people of Jinxia sect and Xuanhuan sect have blocked the sea area near Chenxin Island. Although the disciples outside received the message, they encountered strong men from the 2 major forces on their way back, and suffered heavy casualties. Elder Yang was a little sad. During this period, Chenxin Pavilion was indeed not doing well. The strength of Chenxin Pavilion was greatly reduced instantly after losing a deputy pavilion master who was second only to the pavilion master in strength. But even so, it was not necessarily afraid of Jinxia sect. Not long ago, the deputy sect master of Jinxia sect broke through the semi-king realm. Not only that, an external force that did not belong to the Lanxi Islands, Xuanhuan sect, did not know what agreement it reached with Jinxia sect and united with them, intending to completely wipe out Chenxin Pavilion from the Lanxi Islands. Xuanhuan sect, which came from outside the Lanxi Islands, was also a semi-king force. The joining of Xuanhuan sect completely made the situation one-sided. The 2 half-kings of Jinxia sect, plus the half-king of Xuanhuan sect, 3 half-king masters, among which the realm of Jinxia sect master and Xuanhuan sect master are the same as Chenxin Pavilion master. Both of them are in the late half-king stage. The joining of Xuanhuan sect made this battle no longer suspenseful. Chenxin Pavilion master is strong, but no matter how strong he is, he can't resist 3 half-kings. The 2 half-kings of Jinxia sect alone are enough for Chenxin Pavilion master to drink a pot, not to mention that Xuanhuan sect also has a late half-king. Who can resist? The huge main hall was a little scary at this moment, and the breath of despair spread in everyone's heart. I don't know what price the Jinxia sect paid, but it actually persuaded Xuanhuan sect. Damn it! Elder Wang Zhong slapped the stone jade table in front of him and smashed it into powder. Escape, if you can't escape, then, fight to the death. That the master of Chenxin Pavilion slowly opened his tightly closed eyes, with a strong fighting spirit in his eyes. Even if I die, I will not pull the beasts of Jinxia sect with me. That the elder stood up angrily. Great elder, you are the strongest in Chenxin Pavilion except you. When the war starts, you will find an opportunity to break out of the blockade with several true disciples. The master of Chenxin Pavilion looked at several true disciples. These disciples are the most talented among the younger generation of Chenxin Pavilion and the hope of Chenxin Pavilion. If you can escape successfully, don't forget to avenge Chenxin Pavilion in the future. Although it is so, the master of Chenxin Pavilion also knows that the hope is slim, facing the coalition of 2 major forces whose combat power at the top, middle and bottom levels is far superior to that of Chenxin Pavilion. How easy is it to escape? Unless a miracle happens. Pavilion Master. Several true disciples were moved. Everyone, go down, let's be quiet. The master of Chenxin Pavilion lay back on the wooden chair, and the whole person seemed to have aged instantly. Yes. The elders and disciples all left, leaving only the master of Chenxin Pavilion alone, looking at the empty main hall helplessly. Suddenly, a young man appeared in the main hall silently. The master of Chenxin Pavilion, who was originally sitting on the wooden chair, opened his eyes suddenly and looked at the young man who appeared in the main hall in astonishment. The faint smile on Gu Changqing's face made the master of Chenxin Pavilion's scalp numb. Who is he? When did he appear in the main hall? He didn't even notice it. How could this be possible? As a late-stage half-king, even a true Xuanhuan realm powerhouse could not completely avoid his perception. How did the young man in front of him do it? I will help you with the current predicament of Chenxin Pavilion. But you have to give me something first. What? Chenxin Pavilion Master asked subconsciously. The corpse of your Chenxin Pavilion Deputy Pavilion Master. With just one sentence, Chenxin Pavilion Master instantly knew the origin of the young man. Chapter 22. From today on, Chenxin Pavilion is under my command. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 22. From now on, Chengdu Pavilion is under your command. This is the king-level expert who asked Elder Wang and Elder Yang to tell him to kill the Deputy Pavilion Master. The first impression that the young man gave to the Master of Chengdu Pavilion was that he was too young. It seems that what Elder Wang and Elder Yang said at that time was not exaggerated at all. It was not the first time that the Master of Chengdu Pavilion had seen a king-level expert, but Gu Changqing was definitely the youngest among all the king-level experts he had ever seen. Swoosh! Suddenly, another figure appeared in the main hall, next to Gu Changqing. This was an old man in a white robe. This was not the point was the aura on his body. Another king, the Master of Chengdu Pavilion was shocked. There were actually two king-level experts in Chengdu Pavilion. Look at the respectful look of this old man in white robe, which young king-level expert, subordinate. The Master of the Dust Pavilion did not dare to hesitate and directly took out the corpse of the Deputy Master Gu Ming from the storage ring. Well, it seems that you didn't take your words as a joke. Gu Changqing nodded. With his strength, it would be easy to confirm whether the corpse was the Deputy Master of the Dust Pavilion. I dare not. The Master of the Dust Pavilion hurriedly said. Is what you said just now true? You are willing to help the Dust Pavilion to overcome the difficulties. Although the situation facing the Dust Pavilion is almost a dead end, if Gu Changqing is willing to take action, this so-called dead end can be easily solved. A powerful king is almost invincible in the Wanyang Nanhai where there is no emperor. Of course it's true, but you still have to promise me one thing. Senior, just say it. From now on, Chen Pavilion will be your subordinate. When the Master of Chen Pavilion heard this, his heart sank slightly. He knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch. But what Gu Changqing said next made him stand there in a daze. In return, I will help you break through to the Xuanhuan realm. Gu Changqing originally planned to pass by here and leave after confirming that the Deputy Master of Chen Pavilion was dead, but later Gu Changqing changed his mind. The Gu family where Gu Qinger was located was in the Lanxi Islands. After he left, the Gu family of Wangqin Island did not even have a calamity realm. In this vast South China Sea, they could be wiped out at any time. If there was the protection of Chen Pavilion, it would be much safer than usual. After these contacts, Gu Changqing also had some unfavorable feelings towards Gu Qinger, a sister with the same blood as himself, perhaps influenced by his father since childhood. Gu Changqing attaches great importance to the friendship of the same clan. His father told him since childhood that if he encounters other Gu family members in the future, he should help them if he can. There are not many descendants of the Gu family saints who are still alive. It is also his father's long-cherished wish to let the Gu family return to the top of the spiritual realm. Therefore, Gu Changqing said this, let the Master of Chen Pavilion break through the King realm, and Chen Pavilion will be promoted to a king-level force to protect the Gu family of Wangqin Island, and with Chen Pavilion, it will be much more convenient for me. In the future, I don't have to buy some medicinal materials, just go to the Wanyao Sea and go to Haiyue Island, and I can let Chen Pavilion do it for me, help you break through the Xuanhuan realm. This simple sentence made Pavilion Master Chen open his eyes. It's not that he doesn't believe it. Although Gu Changqing is in the King realm and is still so young, it's a bit too much to say that he can help others break through the King realm. Not long ago, he was a half-king perfect. Bai Heng said a simple sentence beside him, but this sentence revealed a lot of information. Not long ago, he was a half-king perfect, and now, he is in the King realm. In other words, the white-robed old man beside Gu Changqing was the one who helped the young man in front of him to advance. Chen Yun, meet the master. After struggling for a while, Pavilion Master Chen knelt down in front of Gu Changqing. For Pavilion Master Chen, he has no choice at all now. Without Gu Changqing's help, Chen Pavilion could not withstand the siege of Jinxia sect and Xuanhuan sect. He was not afraid of death, but he could not bear to watch countless elders and disciples of Chen Pavilion die. Moreover, if Changqing could really help him break through the King realm, then joining Changqing's army would not be a bad thing for him, but a great opportunity. Even if Changqing could not help him advance to the King realm, it would not be too difficult for Chen Pavilion or even himself to follow a King realm expert, who was so young and had great potential. Next, I will help you break through the King realm. But don't make it public for the time being, don't scare them away. The they that Changqing was referring to were naturally the Jinxia sect and Xuanhuan sect that blocked the sea area around Chen Pavilion. After you break through the King realm, Chen Pavilion will be promoted to a King-level force. Then the people from Jinxia sect and Xuanhuan sect are just right for sacrificing the sword. 2 days later, the strong men from Jinxia sect and Xuanhuan sect were at the gates of the city. If it weren't for the sect's formation, the strong men and disciples of the two forces would have killed the mountain gate long ago. From the elders to the disciples of Chen Pavilion, they held weapons and waited in a serious battle, with their eyes full of the will to die. Swear to live and die with the sect. This scene made Changqing slightly moved. Chen Yun, why don't you get out and die? There was a roar from the sky, and 3 figures stepped into the air and appeared above the dust pavilion. Although the half-kings could not fly in the air like the kings, they could still stay in the air for a short time. The 3 people were none other than the leader and deputy leader of the Jinxia sect, and the leader of the Xuanhuan sect. The appearance of the 3 half-kings boosted the morale of the people of the Jinxia sect and the Xuanhuan sect. And they began to shout. An old man with white hair walked out of the dust pavilion. He looked at the 3 people in the air with a solemn look, and the aura of the half-step king on his body was not concealed. Elder, everyone in the dust pavilion exclaimed. The old man with white hair and beard was not the leader of the dust pavilion, but the elder of the dust pavilion. Elder, you have broken through. Great. Now we have 2 half-kings. But, it's still not enough. No one thought, not even the people in the Qinger Pavilion, that Elder would actually break through at this moment. But what is despairing is that even if Elder has broken through the half-king realm, the situation of this battle cannot be reversed. The Jinxia sect and the Xuanhuan sect not only have 3 half-kings, but 2 of them are in the late half-king stage. Damn, if it weren't for the damn Xuanhuan sect, how could the Chen Pavilion be afraid of the Jinxia sect? Everyone in the Chen Pavilion was a little unwilling. Oh. You old thing, I thought you were going to die soon, but I didn't expect you to break through to the half-king realm. This is a little surprising to this sect master. However, a mere half-king can't change anything. The Jinxia sect master looked at the elder of the Chen Pavilion whose aura had reached the half-king realm, and his eyes also revealed a look of surprise. If it weren't for the alliance with Xuanhuan sect, his Jinxia sect might not be able to swallow Chen Pavilion. Unfortunately, there is no if. In order to convince the Xuanhuan sect master, he paid a huge price. Today, Chen Pavilion must be destroyed. Chapter 23, the Pavilion Master becomes a king, and has another king-level subordinate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 23, the Pavilion Master becomes the king, and there is another king-level master. Great Elder. The Chenxin Pavilion Master, Changqing, and Bai Heng, who were hiding in the void, were paying attention to this place, but they were not in a hurry to show up. The aura of Chenxin Pavilion Master is no longer at the half-king realm, but the Real Xian King realm. With the help of the 3 yuan barrier-breaking pill, Chen Yun encountered almost no obstacles and successfully passed through the King realm thunder tribulation, but the Great Elder's breakthrough to the half-king had nothing to do with Changqing, but his own unprecedented potential when faced with a desperate situation. Someone is here again, it's really lively today. In the size of the 3 people's consciousness, there is another powerful aura, which is quickly approaching Chenxin Island, and it is another half-king. It doesn't matter, I will kill as many as I come today. Changqing shrugged. While the 3 of them were talking, the owner of the aura had already arrived above Chenxin Pavilion. Oh, it's so lively. Why is there such a lively scene missing from the Fulling cult? This person's voice was somewhat gloomy, giving people a very uncomfortable feeling. His appearance made everyone present, including the 3.5 kings of Jinxia sect and Xuanhuan sect, frown, Fuling cult. These words are familiar to everyone present. Chenxin Pavilion and Jinxia sect each have a late half-king, who is considered a relatively powerful existence among the first-class forces in the 10,000 demons south. China C, the leader of Xuanhuan sect, has just broken through to the late half-king stage not long ago, and the backbone is not as strong as Jinxia sect and Chenxin Pavilion, so he is weak to the front line. As for the Fuling cult, then it is stronger than Chenxin Pavilion and Jinxia sect. The leader is in the late half-king stage. In addition, there is also a deputy leader in the middle stage half-king stage. Master Tsang, what kind of wind has brought you here? Sect Master Jinxia signaled to the deputy sect masters and Xuanhuan sect master on both sides of him to be calm. He did not know the purpose of the Fuling sect master for the time being. I won't beat around the bush with you. The spiritual mine in Chenxin Pavilion on Meng Island belongs to Fuling cult. Leader Fu Ling chuckled and continued, as long as the two sect masters agreed, then today will not interfere with S affairs. Mengdao is the largest spiritual mineral mining site in Chenxin Pavilion, no one. The Mengdao spirit mine is equivalent to taking away nearly 1/3 of Chenxin Pavilion's property. Hearing this, the Jinxia sect leader's expression turned gloomy and scary. This Fuling cult has a really big stomach. In one sentence, nearly 1/3 of Chenxin Pavilion's property was taken away. What if doesn't agree? Sect leader Jinxia's words instantly made the atmosphere tense. Leader Fuling sneered, if you don't agree, then I can't say that I and Chenxin Pavilion are on the same side. The great elder of Chenxin Pavilion broke through the half-king, plus the master of Qingyun Pavilion, plus the two half-kings of Fuling sect, for half-kings, TSK. Leader Fuling is full of threats, and on the other side, everyone in the Chenxin Pavilion looked a little unhappy. Chenxin Pavilion, after all, is a big force, one of the two first-class sects in the Lanxi Islands, but now it is like a fish on a wooden board, being slaughtered by others. Okay, I agreed. Jinxia sect master almost gritted his teeth and said these words. He was angry but had no other choice. As the leader of Fuling said, if Fuling really joins forces with Chenxin Pavilion, it will be troublesome. Happy, this leader likes happy people like you. Don't worry, this leader is definitely not someone who just takes advantage and does nothing. I will leave the master of Chenxin Pavilion to me to deal with it. While talking and laughing, the interests of Chenxin Pavilion have been divided up. In the Chenxin Pavilion, everyone's heart sank again. Just the Jinxia sect and the Xuanhuan sect joined forces to push Chenxin Pavilion into a desperate situation. Now, here comes the Fuling sect, who is no weaker than the Jinxia sect and the Xuanhuan sect, or even stronger. This is the Pavilion of Heavenly Death in Chenxin. In Chenxin Pavilion, everyone is in despair. Everyone, do you think that sharing the interests of Chenxin Pavilion in front of Changqing is too disrespectful to Changqing? The figure of Master Chenxin Pavilion appeared in mid-air, looking at Master Fuling and Master Jinxia from a distance. His voice was calm. Pavilion Master. All the elders and disciples of Chenxin Pavilion shouted loudly. Chen, you finally showed up. I thought you were so scared that you didn't dare to come out. At this time, Jinxia sect master did not forget to mock. The feud between your two families for many years has finally come to an end. The master of Chenxin Pavilion looked at him and said with some emotion, yes, this is the end. He looked at Master Fuling. Master Fuling, there is no grudge between you. There has never been any conflict between Chenxin Pavilion and your Fuling sect. I will give you a chance. If you leave now, then don't worry about what's going on today. Leader Fuling looked at Chen Yun as if he were a fool. Do you think it's possible? You'll regret it. Leader Fuling almost laughed out loud. I'm afraid there's something seriously wrong with Chen Yun's brain. Not clear about the current situation. Just when Lord Fuling wanted to say something, a terrifying coercion that towered over everyone present erupted from the main body of Chenxin Pavilion. Buzz. At this moment, the figures of Gu Changqing and Bai Heng appeared above Chenxin Island, forming a triangle with the master of Chenxin Pavilion, surrounding the leader of Fuling and everyone from Jinxia sect's Xuanhuan sect. The three king realm masters released their pressure at the same time. The terrible aura made the faces of Fuling sect leader, Jinxia sect leader and others change wildly. This aura. King realm. This is definitely the pressure of the King realm. This Chenxin Pavilion Master has actually broken through to the King realm. In addition, there are two other King realms, that the four semi-King Masters roared in their hearts, with disbelief in their eyes. Chenxin Pavilion Master and the others knew that the late semi-King, even a long way from the perfection of the semi-King, how could, break through the King realm. How is this possible? In addition, what about the other two King realms? The three King realms blocked all their retreat routes in three directions, and there was no possibility of escape. At this moment, not only Fuling sect leader, Jinxia sect and Xuanhuan, but even the elders and disciples of Chenxin Pavilion were stunned. The Pavilion Master actually broke through the King realm. Despair instantly turned into ecstasy. Chapter 24. The Pavilion Master actually called him Lord. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 24. Pavilion Master actually called him Master. I said, you will regret it. Pavilion Master Changqing spoke calmly and appeared in an instant. The power of heaven and earth surged wildly, turning into a huge spiritual being, and slapped the four people of Fu Ling sect. No. The four semi-kings wanted to escape, but their speed was no different from the turtle speed in the eyes of the King realm. Boom, under one palm, countless elders and disciples of the Xuanhuan sect of the Jinxia sect were all turned into blood mist, and not even a complete corpse was left. The King realm's attack was so terrifying. The gap between the semi-king and the true King realm is too big. Even if the semi-king is perfect, in front of the true King realm, it is just a slightly larger ant. Even though the master of Chenxin Pavilion was only in the initial stage of the King realm, the early stage of the Changqing, and his realm had not yet been consolidated, it was easier to kill a few late half-kings than to crush a few ants. Die. Master Fuling, Master Jinxia sect. Below, the senior members and disciples of Chenxin Pavilion were all in a panic. That was the half-step King realm. Each of them was a famous strong man in the Lanxi Islands and even the nearby seas, but in front of the master, they were so vulnerable. Is this, the King realm? Too scary. The people of the Xuanhuan sect of the Jinxia sect, who had no leader, began to flee in all directions. Don't leave anyone behind. Gu Changqing opened his mouth slowly. Gu Changqing was never merciful to his enemies. Yes. Master, the master of Chenxin Pavilion, Bai Heng, and the two King realms responded and came out at the same time. In just a moment, all the invading enemies were wiped out. However, the words Master from Chenxin Pavilion Master Bai Heng shocked everyone in Chenxin Pavilion below. As for Huang Yingying, Elder Wang, Elder Yang and others, they had already recognized Gu Changqing, the peerless swordsman who killed the king-level monster with one sword on the sea that day. The Pavilion Master actually called him Master. Everyone in Chenxin Pavilion thought they had heard it wrong. After solving everything, Gu Changqing ordered Bai Heng, go to Fuling sect and destroy it. Leaving troubles behind is not Gu Changqing's style. When dealing with enemies, Gu Changqing's purpose is to kill them all. I obey the order. Bai Heng clasped his fists and took the order, and left in the air. In less than an hour, Bai Heng's figure had already appeared at the gate of Fuling sect. At this moment, the Fuling sect didn't know what was happening yet, and was directly hit by Bai Heng's palm from the sky, and the island where the mountain gate was located was sunk into the deep sea. The Fuling sect, even the deputy leader of the middle stage of the half-king who was in seclusion, was beaten into dregs by the shocking palm before he understood what was happening, and sank into the vast sea with the island. Everyone who witnessed this scene was shocked. The Fuling sect is one of the most powerful sects in this sea area. Even the two major sects in the Lanxi Islands, Chenxin Pavilion and Jinxia sect, are weaker than the Fuling sect. However, such a sect that seems to be extremely powerful in the eyes of the world, with a small number of disciples, was hit by someone and buried in the sea, and no one survived. It won't be long before this news spreads all over the Wanyananhai. The witnesses were shocked. Chen Yun, the Pavilion Master, had already explained to the elders and other high-level officials, including the fact that he would be under Gu Changqing's command. In the future, Chenxin Pavilion would also become a force under Gu Changqing's command. They didn't have much resistance to this, but were endlessly grateful to Gu Changqing. if it weren't for Gu Changqing, Chenxin Pavilion would have been destroyed, and they wouldn't have survived. Now, with the help of Gu Changqing, not only did the Pavilion Master break through the King realm, but Chenxin Pavilion would also be promoted to a king-level force. This was something that the elders and other high-level officials of Chenxin Pavilion had never dared to think about before, and it actually came true. The entire Wanyananhai is too big. The combined forces of the sects, big and small, amount to tens of thousands. There are quite a few even at the half-king level, but the king-level forces, there are only a dozen of them in the entire Wanyananhai. Although the master of Chenxin Pavilion is not very old, there is a glimmer of hope that he can break through the king realm in the future, but it is just a glimmer of hope. How can it be so easy to break through the king realm? Under the thunder tribulation of the king realm, I don't know how many dead souls have fallen. Gu Changqing was able to help the Pavilion Master Qinger break through the king realm. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is a master of the world. In addition, Gu Changqing is very likely to be a genius on the spiritual list. In the future, he will most likely be an emperor. It is definitely an honor for them to follow such a super genius. As for Gu Qinger, as Gu Changqing's sister, she was directly established as the saint of Chenxin Pavilion by the master of Chenxin Pavilion, the only saint. Gu Qinger held her little head and was also a little confused. Not long ago, she was just a small disciple of the Chenxin Pavilion, not even an inner sect disciple, as if she directly skipped the inner gate, the core, the true teaching, and became the saint of the Chenxin Pavilion. In the Chenxin Pavilion, those disciples who already knew Gu Qinger were envious. Especially some of the inner gate core disciples. They felt mixed emotions. After the dust settled, Gu Changqing felt that he was about to break through, so he began to retreat in the Chenxin Pavilion. The Chenxin Pavilion Master began to consolidate his realm, prepared to welcome congratulations from all directions. In just a few days, the Battle of Chenxin Pavilion spread throughout the entire Wanyananhai. The news that the Master of Chenxin Pavilion had broken through the King realm and that there were two other King realm masters in Chenxin Pavilion could not be concealed, and soon spread. Instantly, countless prominent forces and sects in the nearby sea area sent people to congratulate. Chenxin Pavilion was also officially promoted to a King realm force, becoming one of the top sects in the Wanyananhai. The King realm force closest to Chenxin Pavilion is a force called Xuanhuan Palace. Xuanhuan Palace, one of the old King realm forces in Wanyananhai, has been passed down for 10,000 years. The current palace master is not only in the King realm, but also a super strong man who has perfected the Xian King realm and is about to enter the Heavenly King realm. The deputy palace master of Xuanhuan Palace came in person to congratulate and express his friendly intentions. This deputy palace master is also a Xian King realm master. It is enough to see the importance of Xuanhuan Palace. If it was just a newly broken King realm, it wouldn't be worth the Xuanhuan Palace's attention, but in the eyes of the Xuanhuan Palace master, this Chenxin Pavilion was a little unusual. Chen Yun, who shouldn't have broken through the King realm, forcibly crossed the level of half-king perfection and directly advanced to the King realm. Add to that the other two mysterious King realm masters in Chenxin Pavilion, all of which revealed that it was not simple, and also covered Chenxin Pavilion with a layer of mystery. Taking advantage of this momentum, the master of Chenxin Pavilion directly announced that a ceremony would be held in a week to recruit disciples. Chenxin Pavilion didn't have many disciples, and many of them died during this period, making it even fewer. For a king-level force that has been promoted, the number of disciples is really a little small. Looking at the major king-level forces, which one doesn't have tens of thousands of disciples? Even tens of thousands. As soon as the news came out, all the talented people in the Blue Tide Islands couldn't sit still. Although their talents may not reach the level of a king-level disciple, Chenxin Pavilion, as a newly promoted king-level force, certainly does not have as high requirements as other old king-level forces. They all want to try their luck. What if? Once they are accepted into the sect, tut-tut, a disciple of a king-level force, even if it is just a sect, walking in the world, who dares not look up to them? Who dares to offend them easily? Chapter 25 Promoted to King-level Power. Congratulations from all parties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wangqin Island, the home of the Gu family. Several Gu family members are getting ready to go, and the head of the Gu family is seeing them off. These young men and women are not only Gu family members, but also the most talented among the younger generation of the Gu family. Xier, this is your first time on the island. The world outside is different from Wangqin Island. You have to listen to the words of the third elder, understand? Gu Gan, the head of the Gu family, combed his second daughter's hair and said softly, Gu Gan, the head of the Gu family, has no sons, only two daughters. His daughter, Gu Qinger, entered the Chen Pavilion a few years ago. Although she is only a disciple of the inner sect, Gu Qinger wrote a letter more than half a year ago, saying that she wanted to impact the inner sect. I don't know how she is now. The second daughter, Gu Xier, is only 5 years old now, but her talent is not bad, even better than Gu Qinger. If it were in the past, it would not be a problem to join the Chen Pavilion, and there would not even be any need to give gifts or use the back door, but, the Chen Pavilion today is different from the past. When Gu Qinger was sent to the Chen Pavilion, it was only a semi-king level force, but the Chen Pavilion today, is a real king level force. One word difference, a world of difference. After being promoted to a king level force, the requirements for Chen Pavilion to recruit disciples will naturally rise. Therefore, Gu Gan is still not sure whether his second daughter can pass the assessment and enter the Chen Pavilion, but, you have to try. That's why there is this farewell. Not only Gu Xier, but also several young men with good talents in the clan want to try. If she is selected, if she passes the assessment and becomes a disciple of the Chen Pavilion, it will really be a step to heaven. There are countless people who hold the same idea in the Lanxi Islands. Gu Xier looks very cute, with a porcelain doll-like face and a rosy complexion, which is somewhat similar to Gu Qinger. She nodded her head seriously to her father's warning. Dad, I know, I will definitely listen to the third elder. The head of the family, please let us keep a low profile and don't cause trouble. Several other children of the Gu family also said. Gu Gan nodded with satisfaction, stroked his beard, and continued, yes, remember to go to your sister first. I don't know if your sister has been promoted to the inner gate now. If she has been promoted to the inner gate, maybe there is a way to help you. Go to Chen Pavilion, try to contact your sister Qinger first. Sister, well, Xier hasn't seen your sister for more than a year. Gu Xier's beautiful eyes revealed longing. The two sisters have had a good relationship since childhood. Gu Xier has always been Gu Qinger's little follower until Gu Qinger was sent to Chengdu Pavilion a few years ago. After saying goodbye, several people, led by the third elder, slowly walked towards the port. Next, they will take a sea ship to Chengdu Island where Chengdu Pavilion is located to participate in this recruitment ceremony. The sea ship has been sailing in the archipelago for nearly 2 days, and it is already very close to Chengdu Island where Chengdu Pavilion is located. Gu Xier and others remember the words of the head of the family. The family is here, don't cause trouble. On Wangqin Island, no one knows who the Gu family is, and no one will give the Gu family face. The third elder who was responsible for escorting several people was only the 8th level of the true spirit. It was okay to be on Wangqin Island, but looking at the entire Lanxi Islands, it was nothing at all. Fortunately, they kept a low profile for 2 days. To avoid trouble, they rarely left their rooms, so they didn't have any disputes with anyone. This ship was heading to Chengdu Island where Chengdu Pavilion was located, so most of the people on the ship were young people, all of whom were going to Chengdu Pavilion to recruit disciples. Most of them were like Gu Xier and the others, who wanted to try their luck. On this day, when they were about to arrive at Chengdu Island, the third elder let the little guys go out for a walk. They were almost bored after being stuck in the inn for 2 days, especially Gu Xier, who was going out to sea for the first time. She looked around excitedly, and everything around her was very new. Third elder, what kind of fish is that? So beautiful. Colorful, like a rainbow. Third elder, what is that? It's a good fish. Will it really not attack our merchant ship? That like a curious baby, Gu Xier asked as she walked, very excited. The elder was overwhelmed by such questions. He smiled bitterly and shook his head. These days, we have not dared to leave the inn easily, and part of the reason is because of Gu Xier. Gu Xier inherited the good genes of the head of the family and her mother, and has a face that is a disaster to the country and the people, no worse than her sister Gu Qinger. In this world, beauty is a disaster, and it is never just a saying. Countless beautiful women have been captured as cauldrons, concubines, etc., and similar incidents are never just a few. The third elder's worry is not without reason. There are too many rumors about such things. Only now that we have entered the area of Dust Island, we dare to let Gu Xier come and walk around. As expected, Gu Xier's appearance quickly attracted the attention of many people around. Some people even had some ill intentions in their eyes. Especially after seeing that the strongest among the few people was only the third elder of the 8th level of the true spirit. Fortunately, now that we have entered the area of Dust Island, these people dare not cause trouble here no matter what evil they have. Mr. Chui is here. Gu Xier and his companions had just entered the living room and were looking for a restaurant to try some dishes and wines that were not available on Wangqin Island when they heard a commotion coming from all around. The eyes that had originally focused on Gu Xier shifted to the entrance of the living room. There, a handsome young man holding a folding fan was slowly walking into the living room, and around him, there was a group of flattering people. Who is it? A young man from the Gu family asked in a daze. At this time, it seemed that everyone in the living room knew this young man, except for them. Yes, they had not dared to come here in the past few days, so they naturally did not know about the celebrities on the ship. You should have rarely come here since you boarded the ship, right? This is Mr. Chui Yong. His background is not ordinary. He is the young master of the Chui family of Xuanhuan Island. A woman at the next table looked at Chui Yong, who walked into the hall with a little admiration. Seeing that Gu Xier and the others did not know him, she explained to them. Changhuan Island. Chui family. Gu Xier and the others were still confused. Among them, Gu Xier was going to sea for the first time and had no idea about what happened on Wangqin Island, and the other children of the Gu family, although not their first time going to sea, were not much different. They knew very little about some islands and forces in the Lanxi Islands. You don't know Changhuan Island and Chui family? A bunch of bumpkins. Originally, the woman just wanted to show off her knowledge in front of Gu Xier and the others, but who knew they were just a few bumpkins? She immediately lost the desire to show off. What's the point of showing off to a few bumpkins? It's just a waste of time. The children of the Gu family were a little embarrassed. They really didn't know. The third elder, who had heard of the Chui family and Changhuan Island, immediately took over the woman's words and explained to Gu Xier and other juniors. There are many islands in the Lanxi Islands. The two largest islands are occupied by the Dust Pavilion and the former Jinxia sect. And there are 5 medium-sized islands between the 2 large islands. Changhuan Island is one of the 5 medium-sized islands, and the Chui family is the strongest family in Changhuan Island. There are no less than 100 strong men in the robbery realm. Among them, the Chui family's supreme elder is still an elder in the Dust Pavilion. Several juniors of the Gu family swallowed their saliva, and they were a little shocked. The Calamity realm is not lower than the first level, and there is also a supreme elder who serves as an elder in the Chen Pavilion. Such a family power, looking at the entire Lanxi Islands, except for the Chen Pavilion, is also one of the top forces. No wonder the woman called him a bumpkin, but after crossing the sea, some people with experience will not fail to recognize the Chui family, a top family power in the Lanxi Islands. Seeing the shocked faces of several young people from the Gu family, the woman's vanity was satisfied a little. With a supreme elder serving as an elder in the Chen Pavilion, Mr. Chui may not even need to take the assessment test and can directly enter the Chen Pavilion. It's really envious. Envy is not just the woman, everyone in the hall, who is not envious. Today's Chen Pavilion is a genuine king-level force. Even if the entry requirements are not as good as some of the old king-level forces, they are not low. How many people went to participate in the Chen Pavilion recruitment ceremony this time? More than tens of thousands. But in the end, only a few hundred people can enter the Chen Pavilion. Now, Gu Xier and the others finally understood why there were so many flatterers around Chui Yong. With the status of this Mr. Chui, if he can lick him well and make him happy, maybe he can get a place in the Chen Pavilion without assessment and enter the Chen Pavilion directly. To be honest, Gu Xier and the others were a little envious. It's good to have an elder in the clan serve as an elder in the Chen Pavilion. He doesn't even need to be assessed and can directly become a disciple of the Chen Pavilion. Chapter 26. Her sister is just an outer disciple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Suddenly, a young man from the Gu family let out a sigh and looked at the young man surrounding Chui Yong in surprise, his face full of attentiveness and flattery. Is that Changqing? There are three major families on Wangqin Island, the Su family, the Chang family, and the Gu family where Gu Qinger and Gu Xier live. For Changqing, the second master of the Chang family who came from Wangqin Island and looked up when he looked down, this son of the Gu family was completely unfamiliar at first sight. The other Gu family children and Gu Xier also looked next to Cui Yong after hearing this. And sure enough, they saw Changqing's figure. It's really him. A child of the Gu family snorted coldly. How come the second master of the Chang family, one of the three major families in Wangqin Island, is still being used as a licking dog? The voice was a bit contemptuous. This sentence was also heard by the woman at the next table. She glanced at the Gu family member and smiled disdainfully. What's wrong with the licking dog? With you like this, I'm afraid you won't even have a chance to lick it. You. The Gu family boy stood up angrily, but was slapped back down by the third elder. This woman is obviously an admirer of Mr. Cui. It sounds ugly, it is true, there are many in the hall who want to please Cui Yong and want to lick him, not just the few around him, but even if other come close to him, Mr. Cui of the family may not pay attention. On the Gu family side, although there was no conflict in the end, there was still a small commotion. Cui Yong glanced over here. This glance made it difficult for Cui Yong to look away instantly, staring closely at Gu Xier's pretty face like a pink carving. The sky is stunning. Cui Yong sighed. As the head of the Cui family, he has always been short of beauties around him, but Gu Xier's beauty has surpassed all the women he has seen so far. Changqing, who was beside him, suddenly felt a little confused when he saw that Cui Yong seemed to be frozen and moving. Following Cui Yong's line of sight, he was suddenly startled. Gu Xier, how could he be a stranger to Gu Xier? The beautiful sisters of the Gu family are fascinated by the young talents who know so much about Wang Qindo. After wanting to marry her, they are almost able to go around Wang Qindo. Changqing is also one of them. It's a pity that neither Gu Qinger nor Gu Xier is interested in him at all. Seeing Cui Yong staring closely at Gu Xier, how could he know what was going on? He moved and said, Master Cui, you have fallen in love with Gu Xier. Cui Yong withdrew his gaze, looked at Cui Yong beside him, and asked, Gu Xier? Her name is Gu Xier. Do you know her? Changqing nodded frantically. Yes, of course we do. She is from Wangqin Island like me. How can we know each other? Come on, Master Cui, let me introduce you to. Changqing was extremely excited. This might be your chance. Take advantage of the opportunity to take the assessment and go straight to the Cheng. It was true that he liked Gu Xier, and even liked Gu Qinger, but neither Gu Xier nor Gu Qinger had ever looked at him seriously. Also got it, such as. With such a stunning beauty, it's natural to get acquainted with her. Let's go. Cui Yong took a deep look at Changqing and gave him an appreciative look. Just such a look made Changqing extremely excited. On the other side, Gu Xier naturally saw Cui Yong and Changqing walking towards them, and secretly said something wonderful. Don't be impatient. We have entered Chen Island at this time. Even if he is the head of the Cui family, he should not dare to do anything too outrageous. The third elder frowned slightly and comforted him. Xier, I didn't expect to meet you here. What a coincidence. Next to Cui Yong, Changqing spoke first, as if he knew Gu Xier very well, but in fact, they were just acquaintances. It's quite a coincidence. Gu Xier said coldly, yes, she is quite envious of Cui Yong. I envy Cui Yong and use the assessment to directly enter the Cheng, but envy means that she has some affection for Cui Yong. Although Cui Yong tried his best to hide it, Gu Xier could still see a hint of lust in his eyes. She has seen this kind of look many times, and it is also extremely touching. Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Cui Yong, from Xuanhuan Island. Changqing was interrupted by Cui Yong before he could finish his words. Hey, what are you talking about? My lord, Cui Yong, do you dare to ask the girl her name? Changping's introduction seemed like he was deliberately showing off. Furthermore, who on the ship knows about Cui Yong's identity? Still need Changping's introduction. With such a ostentatious introduction, will arouse a good feeling of. The little girl Gu Xier has met Mr. Cui. Gu Xier frowned and slowly stood up. she liked Cui Yong and even had some feelings for him, but his identity made Gu Xier a little wary of offending him too much. Therefore, after saying a simple sentence, Gu Xier stood up and said, "Xier is feeling a little unwell and will go back first. Don't blame Mr. Cui. Now Gu Xier just wants to escape from here as soon as possible." Cui Yong didn't stop him. This place had entered the scope of Chenxin Island. He was immortal, but he dared to make trouble here, although Gu Xier didn't say it explicitly. The words "I want to get to know you" were just written on her face. This made Cui Yong Duo feel a little embarrassed. His face was slightly gloomy. As the head of the Cui family, there were countless women who were always throwing themselves at him. There were many women who could make him take the initiative, but he didn't expect that he took the initiative to approach her, and thought he was being polite, but this was the result. After being rejected, Cui Yong, who was a little angry, began to gradually reveal his true nature. Even Mr. Cui doesn't take her seriously. This Gu Xier is quite arrogant. I guess the power behind her must be very ordinary. A charming woman next to Cui Yong said sarcastically. She wanted to stick with Cui Yong, but Mr. Cui had already taken a fancy to her. Now that she saw Cui Yong actively chatting up Gu Xier, she felt a little jealous. The most important thing was that Gu Xier looked like she wanted to have more contact with Cui Yong. This made her angry. It's her blessing that Mr. Cui has taken a fancy to her. He knows how to promote her. Other fans also mocked him. Cui Yong's expression eased a little. Asked Changqing, "She has a sister? I heard that she is also a disciple of Chengdu Pavilion. She thinks highly of me, so I guess her sister gave her the confidence. In Chengdu Pavilion, she is probably just an ordinary disciple, right?" Changqing sneered and explained, "What? Master Cui, you think too much. She has a sister in Chengdu Pavilion, but she is just an outer disciple. Moreover, she was able to enter Chengdu Pavilion because her father stuffed her with something, so she could barely enter the sect." Pucci. Haha, what? Outer disciple? I thought she was so awesome. Is this the confidence she had to reject Master Cui? It's so funny. Chapter 27, The Saintess of Chenxin Pavilion, Gu Qinger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Half a day later, the ship that Gu Xier was on docked at Chenxin Island. For the next half a day, Gu Xier never dared to leave the room. As soon as the ship docked, several people hurriedly got off the ship. They found an inn on the island and stayed there temporarily. Although Chenxin Island is controlled by Chenxin Pavilion, there are not only Chenxin Pavilion disciples on the island, but also many cities. They rely on Chenxin Pavilion and live and work in peace and contentment. Gu Xier did not forget the instructions of her father Gu Gan. Before the Chenxin Pavilion's recruitment ceremony began, she went to the Chenxin Pavilion mountain gate in advance. At the foot of the mountain, Gu Xier looked at the Chenxin Pavilion disciples coming and going. Their faces were full of confidence and excitement. Not long ago, they were still disciples of the Half-King sect. The Half-King sect disciples were naturally not bad, but looking at the entire Xuanhuan, they could be said to be a lot. I know that some Half-King sects have tens of thousands of disciples. I don't know how many times that of Chenxin Pavilion. Walking in the world, a Half-King sect doesn't really have much face. If you meet someone who is also a disciple of a Half-King force, they won't give you any face at all, and they are not afraid of offending you. But it's different now, a king-level force. In the entire Xuanhuan, how many king-level forces are there? The disciples of Chenxin Pavilion never thought that there would be a disciple of a king-level force. This is really a difference of one word, a world of difference, especially some disciples of Chenxin Pavilion, who were not valued by the family, but after Chenxin Pavilion was promoted to a king-level force, even the patriarch of their family was very polite to them. Former enemies sent gifts one after another, seeking reconciliation. This is the deterrent power of the king-level force. Even if there is only one disciple, it is enough to make many people dare not offend. This is why so many people come to the Chenxin Pavilion to try their luck. Once you become a disciple of Chenxin Pavilion, for some people, it is really a step up. Gu Xier stood at the foot of the mountain gate, pacing back and forth, and attracted the attention of many Chenxin Pavilion disciples. No other reason. This young girl who looks young is too beautiful. Gu Xier wanted to find someone to ask about her sister, but she was a little nervous and afraid. This senior sister. Finally, Gu Xier, whose palms were almost sweating, finally plucked up the courage and stopped a female disciple of Chenxin Pavilion who was walking towards the mountain gate. This female disciple of Chenxin Pavilion was in a hurry to go back to hand in the task, and was suddenly stopped by someone, which made her a little unhappy. When she saw that the person who stopped her was not a disciple of Chenxin Pavilion, her tone became even more impatient. "Is there something?" Gu Xier was startled by the tone and panicked. She said weakly, This sister, I'm here to find someone. My sister is a disciple of Chenxin Pavilion, her name is Qinger. I wonder if you know her." After saying this, Gu Xier couldn't help shrinking her head and looked at the female disciple nervously. "I don't know any Gu." "Wait, who are you talking about?" The female disciple was in a hurry to go back and hand in the task. She subconsciously wanted to get rid of Gu Xier and leave quickly, but she soon found something wrong. What did she say her sister's name was? Gu Qinger. Do you know my sister? Can you help me tell my sister that her sister is here to see her? After saying that, Gu Xier was afraid that the female disciple would refuse, so she quickly took out a bag of spirits from her arms, which looked like there were dozens of them, and handed it to her directly. "This is just a small token of my appreciation. The Gu family is not a big family, and this small bag of spirits is not a small amount for Gu Xier and even the Gu family." The female disciple did not reach out to take it, but shook her head. She was a little confused. "Your sister is really called Gu Qinger? Are you sure you are right? What's your name?" "My sister is called Gu Qinger. My name is Gu Xier." Not only did she not believe it, but, suddenly someone stopped her and said that she was the saint's sister. This, no matter who it was, it would be a little hard to believe, especially, although Gu Xier looks beautiful, she is timid and doesn't seem to come from any big family. How could she be a sister of the Saint Maiden Hall? As she was talking, the female disciple suddenly remembered something. The Saint Maiden Hall seemed to have been a disciple of the sect before, and was promoted to a saint later, so, it's really possible. Gu Qinger, Gu Xier. At this moment, the female disciple's eyes changed when she looked at Gu Xier, and her attitude also took a 180-degree turn. She changed her previous impatience and smiled and pulled Gu Xier's hand, saying, "I know her, of course I know her, Sister Xier, come with me, I will take you to the sect's welcoming hall, and then help you invite the Saint Maiden Hall." Gu Xier was pulled by her, and her little head was a little confused. The attitude of this senior sister changed too quickly, right? Is she really the same person as before? Besides, what about the saint? "Sister, you must be mistaken, my sister is a disciple of Chenxin Pavilion, not the Saint Maiden Hall." Gu Xier felt that this sister must have made a mistake. Her sister is not a Saint Maiden disciple. That's even more correct, that I was not sure before, but now, the female disciple can be sure that Gu Xier is the sister of the Saint Maiden Hall. But when the two came to a corner, a voice suddenly came. The person who came was a woman, about 30 years old, and her identity seemed a bit unusual. "Ah, Master!" The female disciple screamed when she saw the person coming, a little flustered. The female elder, who was called Master by the female disciple, frowned and said in a somewhat unhappy voice, "I remember, I told you that you should come to me as soon as you return to the sect. Where are you going now? You brought someone with you. Is she not a disciple of Chenxin Pavilion?" But when the female elder saw that the disciple was accompanied by Gu Xier, she was even more dissatisfied. She didn't come to her to hand in the task as soon as she came back, and she casually brought back someone who was not from Chenxin Pavilion. How can it be? Seeing the master getting angry, Roya hurriedly explained, "Master, after I returned to the sect, I wanted to find you first, but something happened. Although this little sister is not a disciple of my Chenxin Pavilion, she is the sister of the Saint Maiden Hall." Hearing this, the anger on the face of the female elder also dissipated a lot, and she looked at Gu Xier with some interest. "You are the sister of the Saint Maiden Hall. Chenxin Pavilion has not established a saint son or saint daughter for many years. Now that a saint daughter is established again, the disciples of Chenxin Pavilion may not know why, but the elders know it very well. because of her mysterious brother, that person is the real master of Chenxin Pavilion now. It was also because of him that Chenxin Pavilion was promoted from a semi-king force to a king-level sect. Although Qinger is not a saint, her status is much higher than that of the elders. Even the Pavilion Master is very polite to her. Strictly speaking, the status of the saint's palace is still higher than that of the Pavilion Master, because she is the younger sister of that person. Looking carefully, Qinger and Qinger really look a bit similar. The attitude of the female elder also eased instantly. So that's the case, I know. You go and notify the saint's palace. I will personally receive the younger sister of the palace. Oh, master. In the reception hall, Qinger sat in the VIP chair, feeling a little uneasy. Until now, she still didn't believe it. What if she recognized the wrong person later? But Qinger's so-called worry soon disappeared without a trace, when Qinger, no, sister, appeared at the gate of the sect's welcoming hall. Qinger's rosy little mouth opened slightly, with shock and confusion in her eyes, and at the same time, she was completely relieved. The female elder next to Qinger saw Qinger coming and hurriedly stood up. Saint Maidenhall. Sister. Little Qinger. The two sisters hugged each other tightly, and Royer and the others consciously retreated. Chapter 28, clan members advance directly without assessment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qinger, why are you here? Are you here alone? Where is Dad? After letting go of Qinger asked, before Changqing retreated. He once told her that if she missed home, she didn't have to wait for her to leave the retreat, she could just go back first, but Qinger insisted on waiting for Changqing to come out of seclusion, and looked back at the Gu family on Qingdao with Changqing. But she didn't expect that her sister would come looking for her before she went back. This was not what she expected. Qinger shook her head. I'm not here alone, there are the third elder and the others. We are here to participate in Chenxin Pavilion's disciple recruitment ceremony. Qinger was stunned and smiled a little. What kind of assessment test does my own sister need to take? It's just a matter of one word. Sister, why did you become the saint of Chenxin Pavilion? Didn't you just write a letter home half a year ago, saying that you were planning to attack the inner disciples' seats? Qinger's little head was filled with doubts. Saint. These two words had such an impact on her. The inner sect, the core, the true inheritance, and finally, the saint. What happened to my sister? Let her be directly promoted from a disciple to a saint. It's a long story, I'll tell you slowly. Next, Qinger patiently explained to Qinger, including how she met Changqing and what happened during the past few days with Changqing. After hearing this, Qinger's heart was filled with shock. 20 years old, king realm, with his own efforts, he created a king-level situation and helped the master of Chenxin Pavilion advance to the king's realm. This, Qinger seemed to be listening to a book from heaven. This clan brother who has the same blood as theirs is too evil, right? Qinger's curiosity about Changqing has reached its peak. She really wants to see if this brother Changqing has 3 heads and 6 arms. Otherwise, how could he be such a monster? The recruitment of Dianma has begun. Qinger, go back and join the third elder and the others first. As for the assessment, you don't have to worry. I will go find the assessment elder right away so that you can enter Chenxin Pavilion without the assessment. And, it's the real story, that I have to say that Qinger has changed a lot these days, which is what Changqing asked for. This is what Changqing has been telling her, you are now a saint of Chenxin Pavilion. In terms of status, you are higher than the master of Chenxin Pavilion. A saint, you have the appearance of a saint. You are no longer as submissive as before. As for Qinger, she has indeed changed a lot since then. No assessment required. And entry is a true inheritance. Sister, is this, really, that there was a time when she was envious of Cui Yong when she was sailing on a sea ship. She entered Chenxin Pavilion directly without taking any exams. Now, don't be envious, you can do it. Moreover, it is much stronger than Cui Yong, and the entry level is the true inheritance. Qinger naturally knows what the word true inheritance means. Sister, I still can't lie to you. Go ahead. I'm going to find the assessment elder and start recruiting people. Good. Gu Xier left Chenxin Pavilion excitedly, quickly returned to the inn, and told the third elder and several Gu family disciples about the incident. At first, a few people were extremely confused and even didn't believe it. It wasn't until she saw the elder of Chenxin Pavilion who was arranged by Gu Qinger to come back with Gu Xier and responsible for protecting her that she had no choice but to believe it. Other side, before the recruitment ceremony began, Cui Yong found the Cui family lady who was the elder in Chenxin Pavilion. Yonger, you have broken through to the true spirit realm. Not bad, not bad. In this way, your probability of passing the assessment will increase, hee. Mrs. Cui said with a kind face, but his words made Cui Yong stunned. Pass the assessment? Don't have to take the assessment test. Mrs. Cui stroked her beard and said, if it had been before, it would have been unnecessary, but yesterday, the Pavilion Master personally ordered that no elders or senior officials should engage in any favoritism, and no one could use the back door. Entering Chenxin Pavilion, although I am the elder of Chenxin Pavilion, I am just an elder of Chenxin Pavilion, so whether you enter Chenxin Pavilion or not, Yonger, depends on you. Mrs. Cui's words made Cui Yong look extremely ugly. How so? He boasted so well that his followers and supporters all knew that Cui Yong and Master Cui entered the Chenxin Pavilion without taking the exam, but now. Yonger, you have now broken through to the realm of true spirit. The probability of success and passing the assessment test is still very high. Don't be discouraged. Patriarch, I believe in you. Mrs. Cui was helpless. This was the order of the Pavilion Master. There is nothing we can do. Cui Yong's expression at this time was uglier than crying. This is not the point. The point is that you have already boasted, is to let his followers know that he is taking part in the assessment. Where can he put his face? Oh, really, there is no other way. Cui Yong was still a little unhappy. Mrs. Cui shook her head. No. Cui Yong just left in anger. At noon, Chenxin Pavilion officially started accepting people. The Zongmen Square at the foot of the gate is crowded with outstanding talents from the Lanxi Islands and even the other islands. They are gearing up to show off their talents in the upcoming assessment test. During the assessment, if you perform well, you have the opportunity to directly advance to the inner sect, or even be accepted as a disciple by the elders. The children of the Gu family looked around and couldn't help feeling a little emotional. Look, isn't that Cui Yong, Mr. Cui? A child of the Gu family pointed to Cui Yong, who was not looking very good, not far away, and his followers and supporters, although they are still by his side, they no longer have the enthusiasm they used to have. After learning that Cui Yong could not take the assessment and could not enter the Chenxin Pavilion directly, they were not so flattering Cui Yong. Even Cui Yong himself could not skip the assessment and enter the Chenxin Pavilion directly, let alone help them. Not long ago, they envied Cui Yong. Now, it should be Cui Yong's turn to envy them, right? Cui Yong's clan leader was just an elder of Chenxin Pavilion. Even if he was admitted to Chenxin Pavilion without taking the test, he was just a disciple of the inner sect or the inner sect, and they will enter the true sect directly. Until now, several people still felt a little unreal. Cui Yong noticed the Gu family at this time, but he didn't pay too much attention. Originally, he was still planning to pursue Gu Xier after the island. He was really moved by Gu Xier, but since he knew that he had to take the test, he didn't care about love. Next, he had to think about how to pass the test. The leader said that as long as he could pass the test, he would accept him as a disciple as an elder and give him the status of an inner sect disciple. It's 3/4 afternoon. Next, this elder will announce the rules of the assessment. Everyone, be silent. A bell rang through the entire Chenxin Pavilion. An elder stepped out of the Chenxin Pavilion and announced. At this moment, everyone was silent. The chief elder in charge of the assessment test was the second elder of the Chenxin Pavilion, a 9th-level expert in the tribulation realm. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on the second elder, waiting for the announcement. But before the assessment, this elder will announce one thing first. Next, I will read a few names. Those who read them, step out. You don't need to pass 3 rounds of assessment tests, you can advance directly. Gu Xier, Gu Yang, Gu Zichu, Gu Lingyue. Chapter 29 Why? Because her sister is a saint. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This scene caused another commotion in the originally silent square, and countless envious eyes were watching Gu Xier and the others closely. Of course, envy is envy and no one dares to have any objections. Above, the chief elder and second elder in charge of the assessment and testing did not explain, and all the contestants below also acted in a tacit understanding without raising any objections or dissatisfaction. In this world, there is no fairness, everyone present knows it. Gu Xier and the others were able to skip the assessment and enter Chenxin Pavilion directly. I wonder about the energy behind it. The holders of these quotas are all named Gu, which is definitely not a coincidence. Everyone will only guess, and there will be no dissatisfaction or objection. After a short interlude, the second elder began to announce the rules for the next 3 rounds of assessments. At this time, Cui Yong's face was full of astonishment. He looked at Gu Xier and the others in disbelief, then turned to look at Cui Taishang, as if asking, "Your Majesty. I didn't say it, you don't allow it. Any backdoor favoritism? What happened to them?" Cui Yong was indeed dumbfounded. The same goes for the followers beside him, especially those who had previously mocked Gu Xier for not knowing how to appreciate others were all shocked and speechless. This scene is a bit too slap in the face. Cui Yong, whom they have been trying to please, will take the assessment honestly. If he fails the assessment, he will go home like them. The Gu family members who were somewhat looked down upon by their words of ridicule, Cui Taishang, who was next to Cui Yong, was also a little embarrassed, but he quickly explained, "These few people are exceptions." "Why?" Cui Yong clenched his fists. Cui Taishang's eyes were slightly cold. Her sister is the current saint of Chenxin Pavilion. Are you satisfied with this answer? If your sister is also a saint, so can you. Looking at Cui Yong, who was a little out of control, Cui Taishang felt a little dissatisfied in his heart. Is this little boy so angry that he even dares to question the ancestor? Saint? Cui Yong and Changqing and the others beside him exclaimed again. "Your Majesty, what you said is true." Cui Yong looked at His Majesty in shock. "Otherwise, do you think they can be exempted from the assessment and enter Chenxin Pavilion? This is an order personally given by the Pavilion Master." Cui Taishang said angrily. Cui Yong and Deng Lu glanced at Changqing and said in a low voice, "Didn't you say that her sister is just an outside disciple of Chenxin Pavilion?" "Are you kidding?" Changqing spoke for a long time, but was speechless. In his memory, Gu Qinger was really just an outside disciple of Chenxin Pavilion. This is something that the entire Wangqin Island knows. Back then, the head of the Gu family spent a lot of effort and paid a lot of money for a spot for a foreign disciple. Changqing was also in disbelief when he heard what Cui Taishang said. "Gu Qinger, why did you suddenly transform into the saint of Chenxin Pavilion?" On this day, deep in Chenxin Pavilion, a young man in white walked out slowly. 4th level of Tribulation Realm. Gu Changqing gained a lot from this trip. In fact, the entry was very fast, but think about it, with the Chaos Sword body, the Emperor's mind technique, and the many ancient elixir recipes that Gu Changqing obtained from the Alchemy Emperor's Heart Sutra, it would be difficult to refine the elixir at a faster pace. During this retreat, in addition to breaking the mirror, Gu Changqing also refined the spiritual herbs he obtained from the auction into elixirs. Gu Changqing only refined 3 of the 3 yuan barrier-breaking pills, the holy medicine for breaking through the King realm. Bai Heng and Chen Yun each took 1, and there was still 1 left. Now Gu Changqing has refined 3 more. As for the other pills, there are 300 qi increasing pills, 300 yuanguating pills, and 50 tribulation transcending pills. A large amount of elixirs are enough for me and my clan members to practice for a while. If you still need medicinal materials in the future, you can directly ask Chenxin Pavilion to help you find them. The next step is to return to the Hui clan. After Gu Changqing came out of seclusion, he and Gu Qinger went to the Gu family on Wangqin Island, and handed over the Gu's Taixian mental technique that he had improved to Gu Qian. He left some pills from his training place and set out on his way home. It had been a while since he came out, and Gu Changqing already missed Jiang Lianxin and his unborn twins. Qinger, practice hard and revitalize the Gu family's holy clan. It's not enough to rely on one person alone. I hope that the next time I see you, you will have broken through the tribulation realm. Qinger, you too. Brother Changqing, I can't bear to leave you. Qinger burst into tears. During the time she was with Changqing, she had become somewhat dependent on Changqing. It's not a separation between life and death. You are now the holy lady of a king-level sect. What's the point of crying? Changqing rubbed her head. Gone. After comforting Qinger, Changqing made a stream of light and disappeared directly into the Lanxi Islands. As for Baiheng, long before Changqing went into seclusion, Changqing had asked him to return to Han Qin's family in advance, stay by your side, and you don't have his protection, so it's better to go home and take charge early. Before leaving, Changqing also asked Master Chenxin Pavilion to help him find out about the 4th-level weapon refiner. A 4th-level weapon refiner is equivalent to a king-level expert who has entered the 4th level of cultivation, and is very rare. The South China Sea of 10,000 demons is gone. What Changqing asked Chenxin Pavilion to find out is whether there are any other sea areas, including the 3rd-level spiritual sword bought at the auction. Changqing now has 4 spiritual swords that form the Zhuxian sword formation, 2 3rd-level and 2 2nd-level, not to mention the 4th-level king weapon. Even the 3rd-level weapon is not easy to find. It may not appear in half a year at the Haiyue auction, and it may not be a spiritual sword, but other weapons. When Changqing set out to return to the Han and Qin Empire, Baiheng, who had been arranged by Changqing to return to the family first, had already arrived in Jianglin City where the Gu family was located. At this time in the Gu family, Changqing's relative Yuan, the head of the Gu family, was in the martial arts field, teaching the young generation of the Gu family, Jiang. Lianxin watched from the side, and from time to time put it on her bulging belly, with tenderness in her beautiful eyes. After getting pregnant, Jiang Lianxin's own cultivation stagnated a lot. Every day when she had nothing to do, she would come to see these young people in the clan practice and give them some guidance. Jiang Lianxin now completely regards herself as a member of the Gu family. The younger brothers of the Gu family are naturally her juniors, with Jiang Lianxin, a fairy-like beauty, urging and teaching them. The younger generations of the Gu family practice very seriously. Husband, why haven't you come back yet? Lianer misses you. Jiang Lianxin looked at the horizon, and her thoughts for Changqing could no longer be suppressed. Buzz. At this moment, a stream of light passed by the edge of the sky, and it was extremely fast, and it was instantly above the Gu family mansion. That is. This scene made the younger generations of the Gu family who were practicing stop their actions, including Yuan and Jiang Lianxin, and they all looked at the beam of light. Walking in the air. A powerful king. Yuan and Jiang Lianxin were shocked. After the beam stopped, they finally saw the person clearly. It was an old man in a white robe. The terrifying aura on his body told everyone all the time that this was a powerful king. In the Gu family, all the senior elders also noticed the arrival of this aura, and rushed out of the house, looking at the old man in a white robe in the air with some nervousness. Everyone in the Gu family was a little nervous. A powerful king suddenly came to the small Jianglin city, and it seemed that he was heading for the Gu family. I wonder, is he an enemy or a friend? If it is an enemy, thinking of this, Yuan's heart sank. In the Gu family, the strongest one at present is him, the 6th level of the Calamity Realm, let alone the 6th level of the Calamity Realm. Even if he is half a step into the King Realm, in front of a real King Realm powerhouse, he is just an ant and can be easily crushed to death. Jiang Lianxin was also a little nervous. She might not be afraid of death, but the baby in her belly. When everyone in the Gu family looked at this suddenly appeared king-level expert with a nervous mood, the old man in white robe instantly restrained his breath, came down, and walked to Jiang Lianxin in 3 or 2 steps. Under the extremely surprised eyes of everyone, he half knelt in front of Jiang Lianxin. This scene made everyone in the Gu family, including Jiang Lianxin, dumbfounded. This kneeling person is not an ordinary person, but a genuine king-level expert. The next words of the old man in white robe made everyone present even more confused. Subordinate Baiheng, see the mistress. Chapter 30. Husband, is he your master? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Senior, you, what did you call me? Jiang Lianxin, who was once the most arrogant and well-informed member of the Jiang family, was also shocked by this sudden scene. "Mistress, just call me Bai Heng. Don't call me senior. This will offend me. If the Lord knows about it, I'm afraid he won't treat me lightly." Bai Heng said quickly, in front of the mistress Jiang Lianxin. He did not dare to call himself a senior, even if Jiang Lianxin's realm was only as high as the Calamity realm. At this moment, when Jiang Lianxin was shocked, so was Bai Heng. As a king-level expert, he could tell Jiang Lianxin was extraordinary at a glance. "Is this a spirit body or a spirit bone?" That I was a little shocked, but soon returned to normal. "What are you thinking about? What kind of existence is the Lord? How could his wife be an ordinary woman? But, this is a spiritual bone spirit body. In the future, it is expected to impact the existence of the emperor." Looking at the confused faces of the Gu family and Jiang Lianxin, Bai Heng finally remembered that he didn't seem to have introduced himself yet. He immediately opened his mouth and said, "My lord, Gu Changqing. My lord is currently in retreat in the South Sea of 10,000 demons. Before the retreat, he ordered me to return to the Gu family in advance to take charge." "Qinger is your master. Is your husband your master?" Gu Yuan and Jiang Lianxin were in love almost all the time. If that's the case, then it seems that calling her mother is correct. It's just that, to make a king-level warrior willing to be his servant. "Qinger, how did he do it?" Jiang Lianxin is a little better, knowing that her husband is very mysterious and not an ordinary person, but it is just a little better. This is a person, king realm. Even in the Jiang family, Wang Jing is a clan elder-level existence, absolutely a high-level person. Now, he is just Gu Changqing's servant. Bai Heng was afraid that the Gu family and Jiang Lianxin still didn't believe him, so he gave him a voice talisman with Gu Changqing. After listening, no one had any doubts. In fact, before Bai Heng took the voice talisman, the head of the family, Gu Yuan, and others already believed him. If a powerful king-level man has any evil intentions towards the Gu family, there is no need to lie. The total number of people in the Gu family currently is not even half king, let alone a true king-level person. No reason, no motive. A week later, Gu Changqing also returned to Jiang Lianxin. "Husband, come back." Jiang Lianxin, with tears shining in her beautiful eyes, threw herself directly into Gu Changqing's arms. "Qinger. My lord." Father Gu Yuan and Bai Heng also came up one after another. Next, Gu Changqing chatted with his father Gu Yuan alone and gave him some pills to cultivate and improve the family's strength. The Qi increasing pill and the Gu Yuan pill are both at the pill level. "This tribulation pill is for you, father." After handing some of the pills to his father, Gu Changqing took another secret book of exercises. "This is the improved Gu's mind technique. I named it Gu's Taishan mind technique. This mind technique ranks among the imperial ranks and can be practiced by all clan members. Of course, when teaching it to them, please remember that there are a few things to know about this mind technique. Don't mention it to any foreigners. So many Qi increasing pills. There are also Gu Yuan pills. Emperor-level skills." Gu Yuan smacked his lips, a little shocked. "I know, Qinger, your strength now far exceeds mine. How about becoming the head of this family?" Gu Yuan didn't ask any more questions, but wanted to pass the title of head of the family to Gu Changqing. Under the leadership of Gu Changqing, the Gu family will surely prosper and even return to its peak. With him. Gu Yuan suddenly looked a little lonely. "Dad, forget it. I have no interest in the position of head of the family, and I will definitely not stay in the family for a long time in the future, so I'll leave the management of the family affairs to you." Gu Changqing decisively refused. Rather than being the head of the household, he would rather be the shopkeeper, so relaxed and comfortable. "But Dad's strength. Hey, who stipulates that the strongest member of a clan must be the head of the family? Is the head of the Jiang family King Jiang?" Gu Changqing silenced Gu Yuan with just one sentence. "Furthermore, Dad, your strength will become stronger. Even if you use pills, I will pile up your strength. You are the leader of a dignified clan. If your strength is too weak, it will not work. I will give you those spiritual pills. Don't worry, I don't have any more here. When your old realm reaches the perfection of the tribulation realm, I will give you another thing to ensure that you can easily survive the thunder tribulation of the King realm. Gu Changqing said with a smile. Easily survive the King realm thunder tribulation. Qinger, don't make fun of me. How come I haven't heard of this kind of elixir? Haha, Dad, did you know that Bai Heng was only a half-king perfection a few months ago? Without me, he would never have been able to reach the king level in this life. I can make him advance to the king realm, and let you, Dad, advance to the king level. Of course it's not difficult. Gu Yuan was startled again and said, What, Elder Wang, did he break through to the king realm with the help of you, Qinger? Bai Heng now serves as the guest elder in the Gu family. Of course, otherwise, how could he, who is a king, be willing to recognize me as his master? After explaining some things, Gu Changqing left. Before leaving, let me say one more thing. Dad, don't publicize these things for the time being. For the Gu family today, low-key development is the right choice. Now, it's not the time to be high-profile. I will try my best to wait until our clan becomes truly powerful and give the world a little shock. That day won't be too far away. Gu Changqing left, but his words were firmly remembered by Gu Yuan. Looking at Gu Changqing's back as he left, Gu Yuan sighed, Qinger, you've really grown up. Night fell, and the couple hadn't seen each other for a long time, so naturally they had to be intimate. After finishing, Gu Changqing checked Jiang Lianxin's body and frowned slightly. Qinger, you are very weak. Jiang Lianxin's physical condition was not very good at this time. It was not that she was injured, but her spiritual power was weak, her qi and blood were insufficient, and her face was as pale as paper, as if she had been seriously ill. However, how could Jiang Lianxin, who was pregnant with the holy bones, get sick? And even if she was pregnant, her body shouldn't be so weak, because she had the holy bones. The physique is strong, even better than countless physical cultivators. Moreover, the spiritual power in your body. Gu Changqing frowned deeper and deeper, and his consciousness began to carefully explore again. Speaking of this, Qinger is also very strange. I have been feeling very tired recently, but I rarely even walk, but one night, I feel extremely sleepy, as if I had fought with my husband for 300 rounds. Ahem. Gu Changqing was a little embarrassed. The spiritual power in my body was inexplicably consumed. I told my father about this, and my father found me some spiritual power supplement pills, so that I would feel better. Gu Changqing had already withdrawn his consciousness at this time, he almost understood what was going on. Don't worry, mother. I roughly know what's going on. The spiritual power in your body is not dissipated out of thin air, but absorbed. Absorbed? Jiang Lianxin was stunned. Yes, it's not someone else who absorbs your spiritual power and essence, but our unborn baby. Jiang Lianxin didn't know, but Gu Changqing knew it very well. The children in Jiang Lianxin's heart are not ordinary children, but two super geniuses, especially her daughter. The purple sky eclipse thunder body is the supreme divine body of the 9th grade of gold. But Gu Changqing didn't expect that these two little guys, before they were born, they started to use their mother's spiritual power to practice this.